Sooner fans, Longhorn Nation, welcome to episode 56 of the Bevo Podcast, the only podcast exclusively dedicated to covering the greatest rivalry in college football, the University of Texas and the University of Oklahoma. I'm with my man, Kevin Miller. I'm John Whitson. This is an historic instant reaction podcast to the 2024 schedule release, or as the SEC Network pointed out, the opponent release of the new 2024 SEC football schedule. Kevin Miller, have you ever been more pumped up for the announcement of events that will occur in 18 months?
No, never. Never, man. Looking at this list, I'm fired up. I'm fired up for Texas. Fired up for OU too, man. It's going to be fun.
Oh, let's jump right in. Oklahoma is going to host Alabama. Alabama is going to be in the home slate for Oklahoma year one of the SEC. You can't ask for more than that. You cannot ask.
All.
I don't
know. You couldn't.
Yes.
That's a dream schedule there.
Georgia has won the last two national championships. Probably the best team. Well, they are the best team in the country, best team in the SEC. It doesn't matter. It's still Bama, and it is Saban, and it's everything that goes with that. God, I hope that's a night game. Oh, my God, I hope it's a night game so bad, Kevin.
It's got to be, right? I mean,
it has
here's
to be.
why. Because Fox doesn't have the SEC rights. So the only reason those games are on at 11, like Texas and Alabama this past year was on at 11, only because it was on Fox, and Fox's strategy is to have their biggest game at 11. It's not Fox. It's got to be a primetime game. There's no way it's not.
So you've got two options, or you could do the 2:30 kick, which I don't know if they're going to make it as big a priority as CBS always made it. Do you think? Because that was the SEC.
Interesting. And I love that. I love the 2:30 SEC game.
I love it. All right, Texas, the biggest name on the schedule, clearly. Georgia Bulldogs. They could be coming off a third title in a row, potentially.
Can you imagine that?
Coming to Austin. What do you think about this? Is this
man, I think it's great. Man, it's amazing. Them, their fan base, all those great players coming to Austin is going to be an amazing atmosphere. Man, I seriously can't wait.
Unless Quinn Ewers has an off the chart season, he'll be back for 2024, correct?
I don't know. I have no idea.
What do you mean you don't know?
Honestly, I'm being serious here. I don't know what's going to happen with Quinn after this year.
Oh man, I'm just thinking third-year quarterback in the system at home against Georgia. Listen, my initial reaction when I saw this schedule for Oklahoma and Texas is thank the good lords of football that the playoff is a 12-team playoff.
Yeah, and I've seen fans from both of our fan bases so far kind of freaking out about this. Oh, we're only going to win a few games. Look, just enjoy it. And again, that's the beauty of it. The playoff is much deeper now with 12 teams. Just go out and play, have fun with it, see where we end up. It's just so much better to be hosting these kind of teams or going on the road against these kind of teams than playing the likes of Central Florida and University of Houston and, Cincinnati, Kansas State. This is just so much better.
Oh, it's unbelievable. It's absolutely unbelievable. The sentiment on the SEC Network this evening is that OU has gotten the more difficult schedule, largely because of Alabama, Tennessee, at LSU, and only having 3 real, true home games in the SEC. I contend that might be true as it relates specifically to the SEC schedule, but we can't forget y'all have Michigan in the non-conference.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, dude, add Michigan on.
Add Michigan. Ann Arbor.
I mean, that is an intense schedule. Oklahoma is not going to have that level of out of conference opponent on their schedule. So for Oklahoma, I think to me this is fantastic. I mean, this is where they have to be. We want to play in the SEC. I think you got to dive in all the way. But I mean, there's still. Go ahead.
And real quick, I think let's run through the home games for OU, right?
Okay, home games for OU.
All right, so Texas, which is considered a home game, still going to be the Cotton Bowl, but it's considered a home game.
Right.
Alabama, of course, coming to Norman. The Tennessee Volunteers also coming to Norman.
Coached by Josh
South Carolina. Yeah, coached by Josh Heupel. And then South Carolina, coached by Beamer, coming to Norman as well.
That is a better home slate than I can ever. I mean, I don't think there's anything in Oklahoma history to compare that for a home slate of games.
Yeah, I mean, unless you have to go back to probably 1980s when you maybe hosted Miami and maybe Nebraska came to town the same year.
Well, that's what I was thinking. I think that maybe I'm thinking about like if we hosted Nebraska when we played Alabama that year. I don't think we did though, right? Because 2000 and 2001 is when we played Nebraska.
Means 02 and 03 you didn't.
We didn't play Nebraska,
yeah.
And you never have Texas at home, so. Right. You can't really ever count Texas. It's just those three teams though are just fantastic. It's a fantastic slate of home games.
And even South Carolina, I mean, I thought they had a really good season under Beamer last year. Now, again, I don't expect them to ever be, winning the SEC East with, Tennessee and Florida and Georgia in the same division. But, we might not even have those divisions going forward. But still, they're a good team. So even that's going to be a fun game.
All right. Texas home games.
Real quick, we didn't go with the away games. The away games.
Okay. Away games.
Okay. Yeah. At LSU, at Auburn, and at Ole Miss. Those are some really good road trips, man.
Well, don't forget, you've cut us off there on our graphic on the screen. Don't forget Missouri. We have to go to freaking Columbia.
Yeah, that's graphic.
We have to go to freaking Columbia, which I just think is a joke. Whatever. I think that's like, I don't even know.
Yeah, you know how they feel. Missouri.
Here's the deal, right? We don't know how good Auburn's going to be. They have Hugh Freeze as their coach. We know he can coach, but we don't know if he's going to have a quarterback in 2024. That's a lot of things up in the air. Ole Miss, they could be really good. They could just be really okay. LSU, they're going to be good.
They're going to be really good. Brian Kelly, he's a great coach, man.
But even despite how either up or down they are, think about those venues. Oklahoma gets to go to Auburn, LSU. I mean, I'm praying it's a night game. Are you kidding me? A night game in Baton Rouge?
Oh, yeah, in Baton Rouge. And Texas they had a home-and-home scheduled against LSU. They had that outstanding 2019 game with Joe Burrow and the rest of those dudes.
Yep.
And they were scheduled to go to Baton Rouge next year, but the game got canceled due to COVID when we scrapped the entire non-conference part of the schedule. So we didn't get a chance to go. So it'd be great for you guys to experience that. So.
And then you got the Grove at Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Any one of those games in any of the last 15 years would be as good a road game as you could make, in the last 15 years for Oklahoma.
Yeah.
We have gone to Ohio State. We have gone to Notre Dame. We have gone to Tennessee. Okay. Auburn, LSU, and Ole Miss are not far off that list of places you
not at all, especially LSU. I mean, LSU's up there with Tennessee. And then same with, Auburn. They have a great tradition. Ole Miss, the Grove. Texas went up there about 10 years ago. I think it was maybe 2011 or 12 and beat them up there. But from what I heard, it was a great experience for the fans up there. So,
listen,
Missouri. It's almost unbelievable that this is happening.
Missouri's the throwaway game. Obviously, somebody has to be. And then South Carolina, it's a nice story because of Beamer. Okay, that's 2. The other 6 are just fantastic. They're just fantastic games on the schedule. And as an Oklahoma fan, I couldn't be more fired up about it.
Are you getting season tickets?
I don't know, man. I mean, they're going to be going. They're going to be pricey. I don't have them now, so you don't know in terms of donations and everything that's gone into that now what they're going to cost.
The price is going up. I can tell you that.
I haven't had season tickets. I'll tell you the last time I got season tickets, 2014, and it was the worst experience ever. We lost to Baylor, K-State, whoever else we lost to in 2014. It was terrible, and I vowed I'd never buy them again. This schedule might make me change.
Things are different now. Yeah, things are different now. Alabama, Tennessee, South Carolina. That's a great home schedule.
Let's jump to Texas real quick. Jump to Texas real quick.
Okay.
All right.
At home, Mississippi State, University of Florida.
Wow.
Yeah, the Georgia Bulldogs, and the Kentucky Wildcats, all coming to Austin in 2024.
I mean, Georgia's the gem on that list. Florida is a close second. We don't know where Florida is going to be under Billy Napier, but we anticipate them being really, really, really good. Plus, well, that'll be an away game, the Michigan game. But still, from a home slate, you haven't had 4 games like that in Austin in the same amount of time that Oklahoma has.
Yeah, no way. Just because nobody in the conference brings the kind of buzz like that or a fan base like that. Really, since Nebraska and Texas A&M left, nobody brings the kind of fans, the amount of fans that Florida and Georgia are going to bring.
Oh, okay. Away. Here's the big name, though, that all Texas fans wanted to hear, at least home or away. A&M. Is A&M going to be okay with hosting Texas? Because I heard that if they had to go play at Texas, they were backing out of the conference. That's how bad.
Oh yeah, they seem to be really weird about that. Who cares? I don't care that it's in Kyle Field. But I love the fact that it's in Kyle Field. Let's go.
You got now. Other than A&M, I think you'd admit that your away slate is not nearly as tenuous as Oklahoma's with Arkansas and Vanderbilt.
No, the best thing about Vanderbilt is that it's Vanderbilt and it's a nice road trip to Nashville. So,
hey, Nash Vegas. Listen, I mean Arkansas. I think we expected to see Arkansas on the list. The Texas Arkansas, Old Southwest Conference days. I think we expected that, but I don't know that when you look at that list, like you look at Oklahoma's away games, and that's why in case you're listening, if you're listening, we've got a graphic up of Texas schedule next to Oklahoma's schedule, so we can kind of just visually compare the road trips for Oklahoma compared to the road trips for Texas. I think are going to be more daunting, however, way more intriguing when it comes to the away games.
Yeah. Now, listen, the atmosphere at A&M that game is going to be insane. Just the atmosphere alone. There's going to be a lot of hostility in there. Haven't played them since 2011, so it'll be 13 years since we played them when we finally meet up. I hope it's Thanksgiving weekend, but I'll take it anytime. I'm just happy to play them again.
Will Jimbo be the coach in 2024?
Man, I don't know. If they have a season anything close to what they had, I don't care what his buyout is. He's gone. They'll figure it out. Yeah. They'll figure it out. If he has if he goes 6-6, he's out.
Okay. This question was not posed on the SEC network, at least that I saw, and I haven't heard this from anybody else yet, but I'm going to ask you. As a Texas fan, and I think the same question could be posed to the Oklahoma fan. When you see this schedule, right, and it smacks you in the face with the reality of the SEC, does this put even more emphasis on the 2023 performance that we've got to capitalize and make a playoff run in 2023 because we know what's waiting for us in 2024?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you got to do anything you can to go into the SEC with as much momentum as possible. You got to have a good season. That'll lead to big-time recruiting classes. And again, you just go in there with a lot of confidence. So, yeah, I think Texas and OU are really looking to have big seasons because you just don't want to go into the SEC off a bad season. It'll hurt recruiting, and yeah, man, it's gonna be an imperative that we both have big seasons.
I think both. I mean, of course they're playing for a college football playoff. Of course they're playing to win the Big 12. But I just think, knowing that this is what's on the horizon, the urgency has to be at an all-time level because, dude, you just don't know what to expect. I mean, I don't know that I would call it I think I would. I would call it a gauntlet. Alabama, Tennessee, LSU, Auburn, Ole Miss, all on the same schedule, plus Texas. I mean, that's a gauntlet, dude. What other world is that not a gauntlet?
Exactly. Texas with Michigan, Florida, Georgia, at A&M.
And don't forget Oklahoma, which will be a tough game
regardless.
regardless.
Of course, OU, yeah, exactly. At Arkansas, remember what happened last time we went to Arkansas in Sark's first year? Like
and
40 to 20 or something like that.
And we have looked at previous end of season rankings, and typically all the way down to 12, there's not very many teams with 3 losses. They're typically 2 losses. So when you're looking at this schedule, you know there's going to be 2 losses, right? I mean, there has to be. I can't imagine that either Texas or Oklahoma is going to go through this schedule, let alone unscathed, without 2 losses.
It would be hard to imagine that. It'd be hard to imagine going through that schedule without it.
Other games of note.
Real quick, though, I do want to say last year, okay, now I think the bowl games, this is through December 3rd, Utah did have 3 losses, okay? And Kansas State actually had 3 losses, too.
Well, here's the deal.
So those were the only teams out of the 12.
Okay. And that's fine. And I got to tell you, this schedule is going to be better than any schedule K-State or Utah had.
Absolutely.
It's not even close. Mm-hmm. It's not even close. No. But, dude, I mean, this is reality hitting you in the face, or at least hitting me in the face. I'll speak for myself.
No, for sure. No, we're here now. We're here.
This is like, holy crap. This is the big boys. And the problem is, it's always been the big boy conference, okay? But I even think the SEC and the feeling I got when I was watching the coverage this evening, I even think the SEC realizes they didn't just add 2 teams, they added 2 big boys to their schedule.
Correct. These are massive programs.
They did not add to the bottom half of their schedule. They added to the top half of their schedule. They have added teams that are going to impact the overall records of Alabama, Georgia, LSU, Auburn, Florida. Does that make sense?
Perfect sense.
Golly. All right, dude. What other notes do I have on here? I think the Texas-Florida game is another one that's going to be fantastic.
Absolutely.
And I think what's interesting about that one is you're starting to already see recruiting wars. Like, you can start to see how recruiting is going to be impacted in the SEC, because now Texas, who historically is the number 1 recruit-filled state for high school recruits, will be hosting the number 2 recruit-filled state in Florida. I mean, what a way to plant your flag and say we are the premier program in the premier state in the country for recruits. I mean, it really does send a message that Texas hasn't been able to send before if you're able to win that game.
No doubt about it. I can't wait. Same thing with Georgia, right? I mean, they're the biggest brand in college football right now, back-to-back natties, and I don't know if they're favored to win this year or not. You'd think they at least start the season up in the top 2 or 3, if not number 1. So to have them coming to Austin next year, man, it's just going to be a crazy atmosphere, a lot of hype around the game. So I'm looking forward to it. And like I said, man, I know a lot of fans are, oh my God, we're not going to do anything. We're going to have a losing record. I'm just going to enjoy it. Well,
I don't think we're going to – well, I'll speak for Oklahoma. I don't think Oklahoma's going to have a losing record. First of all, we got 4 other games that aren't going to be worth a flip, right? So there's 4 wins right there.
Yeah.
In theory. And then you've got a Missouri team that you should beat, a South Carolina team you should beat, Ole Miss team I would think you should beat if recruiting continues to progress the way it has, and we are going to be on year 3 of Brent Venables, year 3 of his players. So now we're starting to get into like, okay, we got 5 or 6 wins that we should have. Then it starts to get hairy though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, really quickly you can see an 8-4 season. But to your point, man, if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. We have to be in here. This is where we have to be.
I agree.
Okay, I made some notes on who we're not playing. So there was so much talk about OU and Florida being in the same pod together. OU and Florida not playing each other. Texas not playing LSU. You will have played them within the last 5 years, so that's probably a little bit of that. But so did Oklahoma. They played them in a bowl game.
Yeah.
And then Oklahoma does not have to play A&M. And I think I'm okay with that. I will let y'all deal with A&M and all.
Yeah, with Texas, that game needs to happen with Texas and Texas A&M. It needed to happen. It has to happen the first year too. It should happen every year.
Okay. Outside of Texas and Oklahoma, there are some compelling storylines. Bama will continue to play, and with an 8-game schedule, I thought it was going to be really hard for them to maintain as many of the rivalries as they wanted to. You know, everybody talks about the rivalries in the SEC
Correct.
and all this. Based on the schedule, I'm not knowing these fan bases as intimately as we will get to know them. By all intents and purposes, it looks like they maintain this schedule or the rivalries really, really well. For instance, Alabama will still play the Iron Bowl against Auburn. Still are going to play against Ole Miss. Still will play Tennessee. And they're going to add Oklahoma to the mix.
You know, I don't see Ole Miss on Alabama's schedule, but they're not rival anyway. Their rivals are
you're right. Did I miss that?
Yeah, Tennessee is Alabama's other rival besides Auburn, and it's still there. So.
Oh no! You know what? I didn't mean Ole Miss. I meant LSU.
Okay, yeah. You still have Auburn, LSU, and Tennessee for Alabama. Auburn still has Alabama and Georgia, their other main rival. Florida and Georgia still on there, still in Jacksonville.
Auburn and Georgia, the oldest rivalry in college. That's what they claim in the South.
Correct.
Anyway.
Yeah. You still have
LSU and Arkansas.
Yeah, still got that one on there. You still have Ole Miss and Mississippi State. Still see that on there.
Auburn is not playing LSU. I mean, something had to give. That probably makes the most sense. But here's the thing. Outside of Oklahoma and Texas and all the intrigue, especially on our end, from who we're going to play and whatever, dude, Alabama plays Georgia in the regular season.
Yeah.
I mean, listen.
Look at their schedule. You want to go through Alabama's schedule real quick?
I'll go through Alabama's and Georgia's. Go through Alabama's and Georgia's.
Okay, Auburn. You've got Georgia, Missouri, South Carolina, LSU, Oklahoma, Tennessee, and Vanderbilt. That is a tough schedule for the Crimson Tide, man.
But look at Georgia's, though. Florida, Auburn, Mississippi State, Tennessee, Alabama, Ole Miss, Kentucky, and Texas.
Yeah. It's not going to be easy for anybody. They don't take walks at all.
Yeah, they didn't give anybody any favors. I don't think anybody can look at this. I mean, things will change over the next 18 months in terms of, I say 18 months, we're really talking like 15 months, but.
Yeah, before they release it. Yeah.
Things will change in terms of, who has a quarterback and coaches moving around. And, we joked about Jimbo, but that's a real thing. Jimbo might or might not be there and things like that. But just on the outset, they did not do anybody, I think, any real favors.
No. And did anybody – I'm sure there are fan bases who feel like they got screwed in this too. Alabama might feel that way.
I think Oklahoma could have an argument going on the road to Auburn, LSU, and Ole Miss.
That's rough.
They used to talk about. They continue to talk about the SEC West being the best division in college football. Well, you're playing Alabama, Auburn, LSU, and Ole Miss. 3 of those on the road.
Yeah.
Plus, you have to. So I don't know what the difference would be to keep it fair. I don't know that there's a way. I think it's just it's where we're at, right?
Yeah, and what's going to make this so difficult too is every week you got to bring it because we haven't talked about Kentucky much, if at all. If you don't bring it against Kentucky, they will beat you. Same with Mississippi State. If you don't bring it, they will beat you. They've got enough athletes out there.
Same with Ole Miss.
If you don't bring it, absolutely Ole Miss, even more so with them.
Yeah.
Because they recruit better than the other schools that I mentioned. But they've got enough athletes. If you don't bring it against Kentucky and Mississippi State and Missouri even, you will get beat.
Man, I don't know. I know that this podcast so far has been a lot of me saying how fired up I am. I don't really care. I am fired up.
Exactly, man.
I'm almost giddy. I feel like a kid at Christmas, and I don't know which present to look at first, right? Because it's just like, oh, we're playing Alabama. Oh, wait a minute. We're going on the road to LSU. Oh, but wait a minute. Don't forget Ole Miss. I'm too excited, man. It's too fun. This is too fun.
What game? I mean, the atmosphere in Norman for Alabama, it's going to be an atmosphere that you guys haven't had in a very long time. I know. I mean, I would imagine I wasn't there.
Notre Dame when Landry Jones was there.
I've heard about that. My wife Casey was there. I think her brother was there with her, and she told me that was a fun atmosphere. And did you go to the Ohio State game here?
I went to the Ohio State game. There was a rain delay, and then we got behind quick.
It was it was pretty quick.
There was a rain delay, and we got behind quick, and it kind of sucked a lot of the energy out of the stadium. I did not. I saw the Notre Dame game on TV, and it looked electric. It really did. And both schools. I mean, that was Manti Te'o's senior year.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a big deal. That Notre Dame team went to the college football playoff, I think. I mean, they were.
Yeah, it was still BCS then, but game, right?
They got rolled by Alabama. They got rolled by Alabama. But I mean, still though, right? A really good team.
Great team.
And we were still there. I mean, if we would have beat them, had whatever. But so Notre Dame in 2012. That's probably the only thing that even matches the intensity that an Alabama coming to Norman's going to have.
Yeah, and with Texas, like they had the game against Alabama last year. And that was, at least from TV, I wasn't there, but it appeared to be insane. LSU in 2019 was crazy too. So,
all right,
it'll be great to have those kind of atmospheres more often than we do now.
Is there enough channels on ESPN to keep us from having half of these games be at 11 a.m.?
It's got to be, right? We got ESPN, ESPN2, ESPNU, the SEC Network.
ESPN News.
Yeah. And then, our favorite, your favorite, OU fans' favorite, ESPN Plus.
I hate ESPN Plus.
Yeah.
What's going to happen? What's happening to the Longhorn Network? Is that being absorbed in, or is that going to continue to roll?
Being absorbed. No, I believe it's going to be absorbed into the SEC Network, but I haven't heard an official word on that, but I would expect that to happen, and I'm fine with it.
Dude, the SEC is almost so big, and I'm not being facetious when I say this. The SEC with 16 teams and as much coverage and content as it's going to have, especially in football season, you could almost create an SEC 2.
I completely agree. Yeah,
you could have an SEC 2 and have a complete slate of games that people would be fired up to watch.
Mm-hmm.
It might be Arkansas and Mississippi State on there, but people are tuning in to the SEC2 network.
Yeah, because you get the tier 3 games, right? And you get those games, and that's how you get to air them however the university sees fit. That's why you used to have the pay-per-view game. Texas used to have the pay-per-view game too. Now those games are on the Longhorn Network. we would get like 2 of those. You get 2 tier 3 games a year generally. I don't know what that's going to be. I mean, maybe Texas Vanderbilt. Maybe with you guys.
Well, it'll be
who on that schedule?
No, it'll be in the
non-con. You have a non-con. But
it'll be in the non-con. It'll be in the non-con.
You had 2 though.
No, you only had 1. You only had 1 tier.
You didn't have 2 last year. You had Baylor that was on ESPN Plus last year.
That's because we sucked, Kevin. That's because we were 6 and 7 and we were terrible. We would not have. It would not have been.
I mean, what I'm saying is you have 2 tier 3 games, what they consider tier 3 games a year, right? Like Texas always has 2 Longhorn Network games. They have usually it's a non-conference game against like Rice or and then you have a conference game.
All right, I'm looking it up.
So I'm curious how, and I don't know if it's going to be the same in the SEC, but like last year Texas had they had Rice and they had somebody else during the season. West Virginia was on the Longhorn Network.
I don't know.
I'm just curious to see are we going to have ESPN Plus games? Hopefully they improve it, man. Because I watched some of that Baylor game and it was a rough watch. The OU Baylor game.
Oh, we were terrible. Did we lose to Baylor last year or did we beat them?
I think they beat you guys. I think it was a close game. One of those frustrating losses for you guys.
Right. That sounds right. Who the heck knows? Who cares, Kevin? It's a new. We're already on 2024. I had a really good thought. Well, in the meantime, while I'm thinking about that, if this is what football looks like, can you imagine what basketball is going to look like? Can you imagine what softball is going to look like?
Baseball?
It just the permutations just continue. Everything is better with the SEC. I know we used to make fun about that, and I know that used to be a running gag for all big, Oklahoma and Texas. Dude, everything's better in the SEC.
Are we going to do that? We're not going to do the SEC chant when we beat a non-SEC team, are we?
I might do it. After
you might do it?
Release. After this schedule release, I might be in on it. 100%.
It used to drive me nuts.
Oh, it's terrible, dude. They're the worst. They're the worst. Golly, dude. This is so exciting. This is an exciting day for Oklahoma. It's an exciting day for Texas. I don't know. Any other final thoughts on the SEC opponent really? Yeah, ask me something. Give me something.
Are you planning a road trip? Are you planning to go to Baton Rouge?
I would cut off
time to plan it.
A body part to go to LSU. I would love to go to LSU.
Now, for our listeners, right now, you have been to some pretty good road games. Did you go to Tennessee, Knoxville?
I did not go to Tennessee. All I've been to is Ohio State.
Columbus. Yeah, you went to Columbus in 2017, Baker's senior year, and you guys went up there and smacked the Buckeyes.
It's fantastic. Best road trip I've ever been on, and I would think LSU would be that good. Right, I think it would have a lot of people love the Tennessee game, and that was dramatic, right? 2 overtime wins, come from behind, Baker Mayfield, the whole thing. That was 2015. It was his coming out party as who Baker was going to be for us, and that had and at the time we all thought Tennessee was actually kind of good. Later to find out
we weren't. Yeah,
Butch Jones was terrible and he was a jerk and the whole thing. But I think LSU, again, here's my point, though. Looking at your schedule, I don't know that there's outside of A&M, and I don't even know that I would even want to go to College Station. Is it Vanderbilt just so you could go to Nashville, or are you waiting until 2025 to spend your money on a really nice trip?
I would maybe. I mean, Vanderbilt's fun because Nashville's fun. Arkansas, that's incredibly hostile towards Texas fans. They blew the doors off of us in 2021. But it's nothing like y'all's schedule. There's no LSU, even Ole Miss. I mean, that sounds like a great road trip.
Oh, dude, I would wear a tie. I think I would wear a shirt and tie.
Would you be that guy? So you would wear khakis,
yes,
white dress shirt, a
blue
tie,
blazer,
and a sport coat?
Blue blazer, absolutely, 100%.
90-degree weather in the humidity of Mississippi.
100%, absolutely.
Okay,
I'm all
you're
in.
going back into a frat boy, huh?
First of all, I was never a frat boy. But if I went to Ole Miss, I'd have been a frat boy. I mean, that's
for sure.
Okay. Let me think here. I had something else. Man, I'm sorry. My brain's all over the place. I'm too fired up by all of this.
Instant reaction, man. This thing just came out and we're all over it.
Okay, here's what I was gonna say. So Travis Davidson, who we hear on our favorite radio station, The Ref, his tweets today said that what Oklahoma and Texas can expect is for this schedule to flip upon itself in 2025. Now,
okay.
I did not hear that on the SEC network. In fact, I heard Dari Noka say we should treat this schedule independently, that it should not be a precursor to anything else that is going to come.
Interesting.
Maybe because we're going to go to a 9-game schedule in 25. Who knows? However, I liked where Travis was going with it, because basically what he was saying is whoever OU was playing, Texas is going to play in 25. And whoever Texas played, OU is going to play in 25.
Okay. That would make sense. That'd be fun.
It would make sense, except for the A&M game. I think it would make sense, except for the A&M game, right? I mean, you really hate to lose the A&M game.
Yeah, we'd like to keep that annual.
But I guess if you went 9 games, you could keep that, and just add another team in here.
Yeah. One small detail about the schedule, too. Of course, every SEC team is playing either Texas or Oklahoma.
Correct. Either home or away, right?
Yeah. So that's fine.
And so then in year 3 would be back to this schedule, according to this guy's line of thinking. And I don't know if he has an inside note on it or not. And if you're listening to this later in the day, later in the day, Thursday or Friday, give us some grace here because this is all new to us. But in year 3, it would be back to where Oklahoma plays Bama, but this time on the road.
I get that.
Oklahoma would play Bama on the road, South Carolina on the road, Tennessee on the road. Texas could still be the home game or whatever. It wouldn't matter.
Yeah, the only thing that changes is the colors of the uniforms, right?
That's correct. Golly, dude. This is real life happening in front of us. This is real life. This is reality. This is what big time football looks like. I mean, dude, what's Oklahoma's home schedule? Central Florida.
Oh, this year in 23? Yeah, man. What do you have?
Central
Arkansas
Florida.
State.
Okay.
SMU.
Oh.
You're at Tulsa. And then in conference, let's see. Pulling it up now. At Tulsa, then conference at Cincinnati.
Gross.
Iowa State in Norman.
Terrible.
Red River, UCF in Norman, Central Florida. At Kansas. Bedlam in Stillwater this time.
Win.
West Virginia at home.
Terrible.
At BYU, and then TCU comes to Norman November 24th.
That is an absolutely awful schedule. I think that okay, look. I feel like we've been doing this for over a year now. We've been doing this for like a year and a month, okay? And granted, our early podcasts were sketchy in terms of quality and sound quality. And for all of our loyal listeners that have stayed with us, thank you for continuing to hang on. I feel like up until this point, over the last, 30 episodes, you and I have done pretty good, specifically me. I think I have done a great job on this podcast. And I know I'm a little scatterbrained today, but I think that's why I'm scatterbrained, Kevin, is because this schedule that you just read is so terrible, okay? That's the reality I'm living. Look at it. It's so bad. Dude, you got UCF. They're not even a Power 5 team until this year. I mean, it's terrible. I mean, BYU, I'm getting excited about going to a BYU game. I can't even drink a beer at, okay? Like, this schedule is terrible. And yet, you're going to throw at me Bama, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, Auburn, LSU, Ole Miss, and Missouri and say this is what you get in 2 years?
Yeah.
I can't handle it, dude.
It's a monumental upgrade, man.
Handle it.
It's too much. It really is. It's sensory overload.
It is, dude. For an Oklahoma / college football fan, it is sensory. That's exactly right. Sensory overload. I don't know how to handle myself. I'm like a kid, and it's Christmas and Halloween and July 4th all at the same time. And I don't know where to look or what to talk about or who to be. I admire the professionals that can actually do this. As we listen to like radio tomorrow and watching videos and stuff, those are the real pros because they're going to be like measured in sound and they'll make some really good points. Me, on the other hand, I am fanboying it up more than I think I ever have on this podcast because I'm that excited.
It's monumental, man. It's monumental. Can you imagine if one of us makes it to the SEC championship game? What that's going to be like?
I can't imagine this. That's the point, right? Okay, so Oklahoma has won X number of Big 12 championships. What, 12 or something? Like some crazy number, right?
Yeah, something, yeah.
Double digits.
A lot.
Maybe more. And then all the Big 8 titles and all that. But for the sake of the last 25 years, they've won a lot of Big 12 titles. I'm having a hard time conceptualizing getting into the SEC championship when I see that schedule.
Yeah. You never know, man. Remember, Missouri got there the first 2 years. They were in the conference.
I think Oklahoma can get there. I think Texas can get there. I think recruiting shows that both teams are on an upward trend.
Yeah, the talent is on the rise, that's for sure.
And as we talked about at the very beginning of the show, the urgency that they're going to have to play with this season to be able to enter the SEC with a tailwind. But, dude, listen, I'm being honest when I say instant reaction. I look at that and I go, my God, are we ever going to win 10 games again in the regular season?
Yeah. Man,
am I being too pessimistic?
Not at all. Look at those teams. It's easy to think that there is a big chance that, we both go into this conference and fall flat on our faces, especially the first year, right? It's going to be a lot to adjust to.
I better take time really quick to thank our title sponsor, Brown O'Haver. Brown O'Haver is public insurance adjuster for the insured, not the insurance company. So if you've had a loss, this time of year, unfortunately, it's fires. I don't know what it is about summertime, but fires catch a lot of people off guard and they can get some severe damage to their home. Give us a call, 405-735-5510. Let us adjust the claim for you, make 30 to 40% more for your claim than you would on your own. We've got referrals out the wazoo. We can put you in touch with any number of our former clients, and they can share with you how we got them more money more quickly. So if you've had a fire, been hit by the tornadoes, whatever the case may be, give Brown O'Haver a call. Check us out on Facebook. Check us out online. Brown O'Haver, 405-735-5510. Kevin, real quick. Other things in sports, Oklahoma wins another national championship in softball. Were you mowing the yard when they won the national championship? Probably, right? I mean, you mowed like 3 times.
So.
Yeah,
probably so. It's hard to describe how good that team is.
What do you think? What do you think about Jordy Ball transferring like days later, or entering the transfer portal?
Perhaps she's got some kind of personal situation going on that requires her to be close to home, or maybe she's like, look, we can't go up from here, right? This is the top of the mountain. The only way you can improve is if you went perfect. Maybe she wants to see what she can get accomplished at her home state school in Nebraska. It's the only thing that makes sense to me.
I honestly, this is my take on the Jordy Ball deal. First of all, Sooner legend. She was fantastic in her 2 years. No ill will. This is not a Caleb Williams situation by any means. She brought championships to the University of Oklahoma, and she did it in an awesome individual style, right? She was fantastic. I think it's possible that she is so confident in her ability, rightly so. She is so confident in her ability, coupled with a hometown, home state affinity that a lot of us have. She chose to ignore when she chose Oklahoma. Now she gets the opportunity to go back. And I think she thinks she can get Nebraska to the World Series. I really do. And Nebraska is not traditionally a power in softball, but I think she believes in her ability to that degree that she can actually change the trajectory of that team and get Nebraska to the World Series. And I wish her all the luck in the world. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, again, what else is she going to do here, right? I mean, 2 natties, and she played a huge part in this one too, right? I mean, she was the best.
World Series MVP. I mean,
yeah. So
she was fantastic. Yeah. I wish her all the luck.
What was the final record? Was it 58-1,
61-1 or something like that?
Like, it doesn't even make sense. And then what's probably going to happen is you're going to go and reload and get more All-Americans from the transfer portal. Want to be there, and I heard that softball's got a pretty good NIL stuff going too. So
Oklahoma softball NIL. It's because you can tell from our basketball team we clearly don't have NIL going on. So it must be all directed at softball and hopefully football. Yeah. Although the argument is still made that Oklahoma, from a football perspective, is not as competitive in NIL as they should, are going to have to be. Do you get that same sense from Texas, or do you feel like you're properly positioned to compete in NIL?
I think they're in a position to compete, but I don't know. Everything is so new, right? So I don't know how the boosters are feeling about it. So I know the collectors are really pushing fans to donate towards these collectives that go to NIL. So I don't know, man.
I think the collectives are a joke. I hate the collectives. I don't think this is not what NIL, name, image, and likeness was designed for us to all put our money and whoever has the richest fan base to be able to pay players. That's so stupid. Yeah. That's so stupid. It's just dumb. It's dumb on the face of it. And to think that, I don't know. I assume that there's a lot of people listening to the Boomer Bevo podcast that donate to a collective. So I hope this doesn't hurt your feelings. Please continue to listen. Just, respond on Twitter how much you hate this take. But I just think it's stupid. Like, the thought that I'm going to give money to watch a 21-year-old kid play football, I'm not going to do that. Like, I'm going to buy gear, and I'm going to buy tickets, and I'm going to buy concessions, and I'm going to buy all that sort of stuff, right? I'm going to spend money, and if that kid's picture wants to get on a cup or something, okay, great, I'm going to do it. But just to blindly donate money and assume that a collective is going to give it to the right players and stuff like that, it just seems odd. It seems like a very odd decision to make.
Yeah. I think we'll get this NIL deal sorted out at some point. It's just really new. And
well, I hope they get rid of the collectives.
Yeah, and the thing that's concerning, though, is it seems like each state could have their own set of rules, which really, not that college football has ever been a level playing field, because, we're lying to ourselves if we say that it is, because it isn't, never has been, never will be. But, one state is players are allowed to make whatever, and there's a cap on players in this state, then that wouldn't be a good thing.
No, we do not need government. See, this is the problem, though. When the NCAA abdicates their responsibility, when they walk away from the problem and they throw their hands up in the air and say, "It's what you wanted, here you go," they're basically inviting the government, both state and federal government, to step in. Yeah. And the only thing worse than the NCAA might be your state or federal government stepping in and trying to solve a problem that they don't really. Yeah. They don't really know. They don't really understand. They don't have any business. They get a bunch of lobbyists. And the problem is the lobbyists always have mixed messages too. So anyway, I hate the collectives. I want OU to perform well in the collectives, in the NIL, I guess, because I want us to be able to recruit, but I don't know. The whole thing's frustrating.
Here's the thing, though, with the NIL deal, right? NIL's been a thing for 2 or 3 seasons now. And perhaps it's affecting recruiting, but if you look at the recruiting rankings, it's the same schools up there that they were before NIL. Still Georgia, still Alabama, still Ohio State, still Clemson, still Texas, still Oklahoma, still USC. It's the same thing. Nothing has changed from who was getting the best players at this point.
Well, if anything, probably the gap though between the haves and the have-nots. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
It's widened the gap. It's widened the gap between the haves and the have-nots. And then I think when you look at like our favorite dog to kick, which is A&M, when will people stop donating to A&M? Like,
man, I don't know.
I mean, 2 years ago,
they wanted so bad.
And 2 years ago, they had the number one overall rated recruiting class of all time, largely NIL driven, right? Who wants to see that product on the field and continue to donate? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, the fans are going to start running out of patience here soon. If they don't have a good year this year, and those guys are going into their second year, that crazy recruiting class. So if they don't start getting a return on their investment, then fans are going to get restless, and it's going to be Jimbo who suffers because of it.
Well, but the problem, man, I guess all the money's fake, right? When you really think about it, because, I mean, what they'll end up having to do is fire Jimbo, pay out that buyout, go sign another stupid, ridiculous contract with a new coach, and then encourage people to, in addition to the buyout, still continue to give money for the collective. That's what's crazy about it is that's a state institution.
His buyout, his deal is fully guaranteed too.
Oh, I know.
Like his contract, if they buy him out, they have to pay every cent that's owed on his contract. And I know that they're a state school, but the football program, it's like its own entity.
Yeah, I know. But how
from the university goes
how can going 5-7 not be cause to terminate a football coach's $100 million contract?
Yeah, I mean, Texas got rid of Charlie Strong after that.
Other notes, as we predicted, the Denver Nuggets won the NBA championship. Nikola Jokic was clearly the best player on the court, but really the entire team, they just outclassed. I think it looked like to me that it looked like Miami ran out of gas. Like I
thought so too. Yeah,
they gave everything they had. This is all we got. I mean, people want to ride, give Jimmy Butler some crap for how he performed. Dude, listen, he had that team on his shoulders for 3 series.
Yeah, they had no business even making it there. So the fact they even did that made it an amazing season. And again, like you said, it's just a bad matchup. No team in the league was beating Denver with Jokic. I mean, we're seeing a guy who is becoming historically good, one of the greatest players of all time, and he's at his absolute peak right now. And when you have that, there's nothing you can do with it. It's like Tim Duncan in 2003.
They have their starting 5 coming back to next year. Is there anybody that can beat them?
You know what? Maybe. I just want to see, do they have the same mindset?
You're probably rooting for Phoenix. You think Kevin Durant is going to rise from the ashes? Get it? Is going to rise from the ashes and bring that team back to prominence, and they're somehow going to compete. It's not going to happen.
First of all, let me stop you right
terrible.
there.
They traded him to Phoenix, and Phoenix fell off the map. They fell off the map. They were terrible. Terrible.
First of all, the coach, Williams sucks.
Well, that's true. Why does that guy keep getting a job anyway?
I don't know. And not only did he get another job, he's the highest paid coach in the history of the NBA.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, after blowing, I mean, how do you get blown out in games like that? The last year, before KD got there, they lose by 30 to Dallas. You're down, and not only do you lose by 30, you're down by 30 in the first half. Against weird, Dallas? Man.
Yeah, it's weird.
First of all, and let me just stop you there. I do love Kevin Durant, hook 'em horns.
He's a baby.
But there's only one team I root for. Do you not see the hat right there? There's only one team I root for. That's the San Antonio Spurs. And Victor Wembanyama.
When it comes time for John Whitson to come home to mama, when it comes to NBA teams, it is the San Antonio Spurs. Every day. Listen, when I'm forced to choose on who my favorite team is, now when it comes to pro sports, I'm not like Oklahoma. When I'm Oklahoma fan, I hate every other college team. Like every other college team. Like you'll see those random questions on who would you root for in your conference or who would you root for? Nobody. I hate everybody. I hate everyone. Texas most of all, but I hate everybody. When it comes to pro sports, I'm like, I can get behind this team. This guy's fun to watch. I like this coach. There's some absolutes. I don't ever root for the Lakers, ever. I never root for the Rockets ever. I think sometimes I pull for Dallas because I like, what's his name?
The quarterback?
No. I'm talking about NBA.
Oh, Luka.
I like Luka, but really at the heart, I'm really not rooting for Dallas.
Yeah.
So those are the three that are like hard passes: Houston, Dallas, LA. But other teams I can get behind, like the Celtics. I can always root for the Celtics. I was rooting for Denver over the Heat. Like all these different teams. At the end of the day, I'm a Spurs fan. Come on.
Yeah. I'm so curious to see how they build this team around Victor Wembanyama this year, right? What free agents do they go to? I think they should go after former OU player Austin Reeves. He's due for a contract, and I don't know if LA can afford him.
I thought he had one more year.
He does, but he's able to opt out. I'm pretty sure he can opt out.
Oh, man, that would be fantastic.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
The rumors show Houston.
Houston? Okay.
Houston's liking Austin Reeves.
Okay.
Quick hit on the Googles there. See, that's the problem, though. I will say this. If he goes to Houston, I can't root for him. I hate Houston.
Yeah.
And listen, I liked Olajuwon. And I liked Clyde Drexler when he was at the Trailblazers. But and I like Charles Barkley. But when they went to Houston, I did not like them.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm still mad about 95. Let's be honest, man. 95 Western Conference Finals. Spurs, number 1 seed. Thought we were headed for the title and just kind of imploded against Houston. Again,
didn't Houston was it Sam Caldwell? Was that their point guard? Am I thinking the right guy? Sam Cassell. Oh, I hated that guy.
Yeah,
I hated Sam Cassell. And he was ugly too, right?
Yeah, he kind of looked like
he
kind of looked like an alien, like the way they depict aliens to look. Yeah, but shout out to Sam Cassell. He's become a good assistant coach in the NBA.
Oh, that dude was so ugly.
Good.
God, he was so ugly.
He was so good, man, that they didn't have anybody else that first year. Otis Thorpe, Carl Herrera, rookie. I think Robert Ory was a rookie, and he won the title with those dudes. And then they bring Drexler, and the next year they go back to back.
And then they bring Barkley in, and he just
it just didn't work. And Jordan was back in the league too.
Yeah.
So, good luck with that,
Kevin. This has been a roller coaster. I want to apologize for the fans for being all over, but I'm not going to apologize for my enthusiasm. I'm not going to apologize.
The fans are matching our excitement, man.
I hope they are. This is
historic stuff.
Hey, if you're out there and you've listened, please give us a like. Please share it with your friends. Me and Kevin obviously love what we're doing. We're getting geared up here for the actual season. We'll go 2 a week. But over the summer, we're just going to keep throwing stuff out there, and we appreciate the SEC releasing this schedule because it's made it fun. Kevin, have a great night. Boomer.
You too, man. Hook 'em.